Dr. Penelope Jones, and she is the co-founder and CEO of Byterat, a cutting-edge cloud platform designed for battery labs to automate their data management and analysis processes so that companies can extract critical business insights from their battery data. Welcome to the stage, Dr. Penelope Jones.
So I am Penelope Jones. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Byterat. We are really built with a mission to help transform the way that battery companies today are extracting value from all the data that's being generated in their labs. And really delighted today to announce a partnership, and you'll see a press release coming out about this on Monday next week, but delighted to announce that we will be partnering with the BIC to help manage all of the data that's being generated in their labs. So we'll be really excited to talk to some of you if you're interested in learning more about this. Maybe, and before I get started, I'd also love to thank Les and the whole BIC team for partnering with us and being so forward-thinking. Really think that the BIC is sort of moving to the next level now in terms of scale and all the exciting plans, and just really, really excited to be a part of this, journey. We were founded in 2021 in the UK. You may have sensed a bit of an accent. We were in the physics department at the University of Cambridge, and our research was focused on building machine learning models to predict how batteries would perform under different use cases. So we were doing huge numbers of battery experiments and basically sending pulses into batteries and then using all of that data to predict how a battery would degrade under different use cases. And we had a number of publications in Nature and various journals, and this ultimately led to a number of really interesting partnerships with companies ranging from BP, BMW, a number of companies across the industry, helping them to predict how their assets would degrade. And it was really interesting because the biggest commonality across all of these projects was that these companies had spent like millions of dollars generating a lot of battery data that was ultimately sitting in a OneDrive on someone's computer. And once that data had been generated, the vast majority of it was never actually used to extract any meaningful value for that company. And so we would go in kind of with these very what we thought was sort of bleeding edge machine learning models, and we would spend 95% of our time actually trying to find the data, clean the data, and get it into a form that we could actually do something useful with it. And that was kind of frustrating, honestly, but also we realized there's a real opportunity here for this industry to move a lot faster and smarter if we can just build a robust data foundation for them to basically manage all of this data. So anyway, we ended up relocating our whole team out to Silicon Valley. We are funded by some top venture capital firms in the Bay Area. And yeah, we are about to launch our next iteration of the platform, so very excited about that. And if you're working with the BIC or you're interested in sort of talking to us about that, very, very happy to do so. But yeah, I thought what I would do now is just kind of outline some of the challenges that we've seen companies across the space face when it comes to data management, data analytics, and maybe some of you, if you've spent time in a battery lab, would have some familiarity with these challenges. So I think this basically gets the message across that I was alluding to, which is that these companies are spending really millions of dollars each year generating a lot of battery data to answer some critical questions, ranging from how does this new material that I'm integrating into my battery impact the energy density or the cycle life or the charging time or the safety of the battery, all the way to a company that is not making batteries, but is validating batteries and integrating them into their product and trying to think through what is the impact of this charging algorithm on cycle life, or what is the warranty of the product that is reasonable. And what we basically realized is that the companies that are kind of making the fastest progress in this space have realized that through accurate, well thought through battery testing, they can really turn all of this data that they're generating into a competitive advantage. And that's really what we're on a mission to help companies to do. So I think when it comes, probably the biggest challenge that a company with operating a big testing lab faces is that you might have anywhere from 5 to 10 to 20 different types of testing equipment in your lab. And each, I mean, I know there are some companies here that actually sell that testing equipment, and it's great, but there is actually a lot of challenges with bringing all of that data into one central location. You might have cycler brands or manufacturing equipment which is generating data in lots of different file formats. And to actually bring data from each part of a manufacturing line, and then your formation data and your testing data into one place and actually connect the dots, it's very, very challenging, and you would have to typically hire a whole team of software engineers or data scientists if you actually wanted to pull all of that data into one place. It especially becomes challenging as the different brands continually are upgrading their own systems, so you're having to stay on top of their upgrades to try and bring that into your own data pipeline. This is really not fun, and I'm speaking from experience here. So usually what a company will do as it starts to scale is it will actually, like I said, maybe hire a few data scientists or software engineers to start pulling all this data together, building their own pipeline. And the challenge then becomes that as you start to scale, you really can get lots of errors, especially when it comes to the potential faults or power outages in the line. You have no way to detect this, and it just becomes really, really challenging to scale that as your company continues to grow. So usually what then happens is you start to realize that you're making these decisions about all this data, from all the data that you're generating, and critical decisions that can materially impact the product that you ship, but you don't necessarily know whether the metrics that you're receiving from the lab are actually matching to the experiments that were being run in the lab. And that's when having a robust data pipeline really becomes like absolutely critical. The other question that we're hearing a lot from the industry is, how can we move faster, basically? Like you have a certain number of experiments that you can realistically run before you need to ship your product to actually optimize the structure of the battery design or the product that you're designing. And making intelligent decisions about what experiments you're going to run becomes absolutely like critical. Usually companies start to, well, we're actually seeing this trend of companies that are interested in predicting the outcome of a lot of the experiments that they're running so that they can shorten the duration of those tests. And I mean, I can come back to that, but I think what this leads really nicely onto is thinking about how to actually make use of advances in machine learning and artificial intelligence, and actually pulling in all of the data that's being generated in these labs so that you can build models of how your tests are likely to kind of finish, so that you can reduce the number of tests that you have to run, the duration of those tests, etc. And some of the companies that we're working with now are really interested in integrating machine learning models into their planning, but also just into the entire design process. We are at this stage where we have just launched our next generation of the platform. We're really, really excited about this. it is kind of, I mean, I'm biased, but it is kind of state of the art in terms of performance and speed. We're really excited to be working with the BIC on a new partnership. And yeah, just really, really grateful to be here. And yeah, hope I can meet some of you after this if you're interested in talking more about how to get more value from your battery data. So yeah, thank you.